So, entered military school. Was weird. All boys. That was kind of a negative. Anyways, one of the classes I get to choose, because it was junior high, so we had certain classes that we could choose. Typewriting, I believe, was one. Leathercraft was another one. And I chose reading. I had read one or two books by then and enjoyed it. Not a great reader by other standards. Other kids, like Harry Potter, the whole Harry Potter scene that came after had kids reading. That wasn't the case in my era. But by that time, I had read at least a few books that I had enjoyed, short stories and things like that, to get me into reading. I like the books. And I entered Mrs. Drake's room, and it was amazing because it had, I think we were at least 30 students. It could have been less because it was a private school, but it was a full classroom. And then, of course, she had every wall covered in shelves, almost until behind her desk. The only thing was the chalkboard that was open, but everything else was shelves and books. And she had read them all, of course, and probably much more than that, of course. But those were the books for us. And one book was better than the other. I consumed it. You could consume as many books as you wanted. And really, I would start, I think the first month, of course, the book probably took me a month. And then, another book took me a month. But then I started getting, 2 weeks. And then another book in a week or 2 weeks, and depending on how big. And I didn't care. It was the cover and the synopsis, just kind of the story of the book that attracted me. One of them was, still don't know the name of the author, I have to look it up, was called Follow the River, about a woman in being a frontier, and her child gets stolen by or taken by natives, and she gets taken at one point, and she has to come back. Just a major story for me, and just to open my eyes. But who really opened my brain was Mrs. Drake. Now we're talking about a mid-60-year-old, I would say 58, 59 to something, 60. I don't know if she was from California. I did look for her in Facebook. I wanted to always give my thanks to her. And she would have you read the books, and she loved books, and she was serious about her craft. She was serious. So you cannot read a book kind of half-ass with her. She would ask you deep questions about the book, little details, and she would know exactly if you read the book or not. But to me, what opened my eyes, what really made me think, and she made me think, was, who did you like more, the protagonist or the antagonist? And don't you think the antagonist was kind of right sometimes? I mean, wouldn't you be angry if something did like this? Because everybody's for the hero's side, but what about this guy? What about this guy has nothing to, you would be like, what? Because of course you would follow the book, you follow a Disney movie, but then she had books in there that weren't that easy to define. It's kind of gray, it's not white or black, good and bad. What's the good of the bad and the bad of the good and all that shit, and you're in scales of gray where you're kind of lost, and she would go into that. And it was like the 9th or 10th month. She gave me the best grade I ever had. And she sat me down, and she goes, I know you have some problems with your dad. Your dad's an engineer. But she said, you love books. You know that you love to read. Try not to get too emotional. Consider writing. Consider books for your life, because you just have a deep love for him, and you do understand characters, you understand story, and you understand pace. So a whole bunch of shit that not my parents would have never talked to me like that. Never. I was too little, too stupid, too not. No. She treated me. Okay, and this is understand the time. Okay, this is early '80s, late '70s, early '80s. And you're talking about a white woman talking to a little Latino kid, which I was considered Latino. I'm Italian and Portuguese. I will explain my little bit more mixed than that, my ancestry before, but I wasn't the Mexican immigrant. But people treated me that way in white America, but she did not. She treated me like a special guy because she knew I liked to read. I was like on her word. Like if she said, "Hey, look, I recommend that book," I would go to that book. I just totally trusted her. I loved what she was teaching me. Just opened my mind. After that came Tolkien. After that came, oh my God, a Kafka. I mean, I just remember just consuming books after that. She opened my head, and she left me a few things like kind of to do, and so writing was a to do, and I never really fully accomplished it. I'm close, but I'm having health problems and issues, like I said before, and so this video thing said, okay, I'm going to do this. I have to talk. After Mrs. Drake, the wonderful Mrs. Drake, and once again, I'm taking my time, guys. I'm going to do this because that's the only way I can.